Probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Reading may be the most valuable skill your child will ever learn. And research proves that when children read outside the classroom, they do much better in school. I'm Jenny Vinson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's easy to picture yourself reading with a young child curled up in your lap, but don't forget about your older children. They also need encouragement to read. So set aside some time to read together and help your child achieve and succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Welcome into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now here are your hosts, Jeff and Nicole Essig.
All right, welcome in, Fitness Fanatics. It is Sunday, March 3rd. March Madness is here. Harrison, are you pumped? Yes, you're pumped after Thursday night. Excited? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, welcome in. We got a pretty cool show lined up for you guys today. We have 2 members of the Nebraska Curling. I don't either.
I can hear you guys.
Okay. UNL. I don't hear you in my headset, just FYI. Okay, so yes, the UNL Curling Club, 2 members are going to be in. Nicole and I had the opportunity to go down to a curling practice on Tuesday night at the Breslow, as I say that, pronounce that correctly. Okay, Ice Arena. And it was awesome. We were out on the ice sweeping, doing all that fun stuff. Oh, yeah, I can't hear you in my headset.
Yeah, just go with the headsets. Without them.
Oh,
we're still going. I'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we have 2 members of though they're coming in here about 9:30, Charlie and Brett. So we're pretty excited to find out more about this sport and how in the heck do you become a curler. For one, it's never something I thought that I wanted to do growing up. So, but it was pretty cool. We were a little winded doing some sweeping out there on the ice. I didn't know how like you would walk on the ice. I had no clue. So we're gonna cover all that with those guys when they get here. Heart rate was up. I don't know if they have to run the entire length of the ice like we did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, we had to go the whole length of the ice with the coach just yelling at us, just sweep. We're just, yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. But before we get into our show here, I do want to, we all remember the spoon incident. Harrison, remember that?
Yes, it was a meltdown for you.
Okay. So last Sunday night, we're having our Sunday night ice cream. Now, 2 weekends ago, we got Dairy Queen. Now, if you listen to the show, we get ice cream every single weekend as part of our free day festivities. But last Sunday, we made it at home, and I went into the drawer to look for my new spoon that I have now adapted to. And what did I find?
Your spoon came back.
It came back, yes.
Oh, there I am.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good now.
Yeah.
Can everyone hear?
Yeah, we can. I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can all hear now.
We can
I
hear.
don't
We're good.
think I was on.
All right, I fixed it somehow.
Okay, good
We're
job.
good. But all right, sweet. 402-464-5685. Jeff found his spoon.
Right.
We're
Okay,
yes.
we're back. We're back.
Found my spoon.
The thing is, it had actually been in that drawer for probably about a good 3 weeks before
No,
you.
you said 2 weeks.
Well, I knew it was there for 2 weeks, and Katie had put it in there before that even.
Yes, so just so you know, it was in our daughter's bedroom.
Okay, yeah, that is the spot where it might take a while to figure out where
We
it is.
do
Must have fell down in
Call
between
her the
bed
black
or-
hole. She's the black hole of the house for
Yes,
sure.
so I knew something happened to it, and I was right. Oh, there goes one of our curlers right now. They're walking by the window. We see you out there.
All right. Anyway. Yeah. So he was a little upset that Katie didn't look in her room that day. He'll figure it out. He's a grown up. It's okay.
Over here, Brett. We see you.
It is kind of fun. We got that nice sign
Yeah.
out there on the corner. There he is. We got him.
He saw us. All right. So good. At least we know one of them's here.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. Anyway, this is a weird opening. We're all
No, that's okay.
discombobulated. We're discombobulated.
Well, we had a replay this morning.
Yeah, you're technically the
with
first
Pete's show.
live show.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and we had a bunch of high school games last night. Shout out to Nick, Sainer, and Joshua for doing all that yesterday.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway.
And now we're rolling.
So
we're
the
good.
spoon, back to the spoon, because you were mad that she didn't look in her room. But your attitude was so bad. Nobody wanted to help you. It's a lesson in like you can catch more flies with honey or sugar than you can with whatever. it is.
Vinegar?
Yeah, I don't know what
You
the
can
saying
catch more
is.
with vinegar.
No, because you were so irrational that nobody, even though I did try to help you and you ran me out of the kitchen.
But I was correct.
Okay, you were right, but still, nobody wanted to help you. Ben,
then it was
I told
found-
Ben, and he said, "I thought I didn't want to look because I didn't want to get beat." Is what he
Oh,
said.
that is
whoa.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It is. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Never laid a finger on our
No,
children.
you've never been the disciplinarian.
Yes. No.
It's funny.
Yeah. So nobody call Child
But
Protective
anyway,
Services.
all-
Ben's a
Fanatics.
Ravens fan. He gets enough of that.
Yeah. And a Huskers
All's
fan.
well that ends well because the spoon is back.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I were you, I would have hid it. It's still in the drawer.
Well, hopefully everybody learned their lesson to just not touch it.
I don't touch it. That's
Well,
why I knew I didn't have
your
it.
daughter did, and she lost it in her room.
She really didn't think she did. She could have just flipped it.
Oh, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, you admitted.
I would
that
have just thrown it out.
If you would have found it now, you would have just thrown it out.
Oh,
So
yeah,
how much
absolutely.
were you really attached to the spoon?
Well, I moved on. I found a new spoon that I was using, and it was just fine. So I adapted to the situation, but now it's back.
Yep.
And it was just heavenly.
I'm
Have
not
it back.
ever
I loved
touching
it.
that spoon.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, Fitness Fanatics, not sure why, but we are sponsored by Integrative Life Choices. No, I'm just kidding. ILC is hiring direct support professionals all over the state of Nebraska, full-time, part-time days, evenings, weekends. If you are interested, you can apply at ilc.net. direct-slash-careers. Direct support professionals work to ensure a meaningful life for the people they support. They work to support people in achieving their hopes and dreams. So big shout out to ILC. Appreciate your sponsorship of our show. And again, we got our curlers coming up here in about 20 minutes. Do want to give a quick plug to the other sponsor, which is our gym, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. We do have a 10-week challenge starting in 3 weeks. So March 23rd is our orientation for the spring challenge. So if you kind of fell off the wagon of your New Year's resolutions of getting in shape, getting healthy, maybe losing a few pounds, tried to do it on your own, and you want some help, that's what we're here for. So we are coming up on 15 years in business here in Lincoln, thousands of lives changed. We combine kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. You know, I heard a commercial. I'm just going to talk about this. I heard a commercial. I'm not going to say what it was for.
I don't think you even know what it was for.
Well,
You're so mad.
Ozempic?
No. Okay, so I heard a
Just-
commercial.
Yeah.
And this is just something that we fight against, which I was really upset. It was basically talking about losing fat. And in the commercial, it says, no counting calories, no exercising. Just like,
Right.
this is what we fight against.
Yeah.
What all the other gyms in Lincoln fight against that are trying to help people do things the right way.
Get healthy.
But it was just, I don't know, it was just, I was just so infuriated. Like when I hear don't exercise,
Yeah, that's a little bit of a red flag. I
don't
think.
watch what you eat.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
You're not actually going to learn anything. It's tough. The fitness industry is tough because, you know, all you have to do is tell people what they want to hear. And then when it fails, then you can blame them for not being able to sustain something that was unsustainable.
What happens is if you don't sustain it, then you just go do it again.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, we try to teach our members to have a good relationship with food because that is kind of the key to long-term sustainability.
Yeah.
So,
and making the connection between if you're fueling your body, if you're eating healthy, how much better you feel. And then for us, yes, transformation is part of it. Losing weight, losing inches, building muscle, losing fat. That's a part of our program. But what I would really prefer everyone to get out of our program is feeling better. And then as you feel better and you can work out harder and you can start being proud of those things, then that weight becomes less important. That's what I would want instead of just always focusing on hitting a goal weight or just being obsessed by a number on a scale. What I would prefer is for people to get to a place where that's not as important to them. And it's more about how they feel.
Yeah.
Feeling good. But
yeah, so I just wanted to get that off my chest. But that's what we fight against is quick fix type things because everybody wants the quick fix. They want to lose the quick 5-10 pounds. And a lot of these places where
and sometimes that's okay. Like sometimes you want to lose weight quickly for something, and that's all right. But you know, when you find yourself in just a never-ending cycle, that's when it becomes kind of unhealthy. That's when it becomes problematic, I would say. Because sometimes you do just want to lose, you know, you have an event or something, you want to fit into a piece of clothing for something, and maybe you're going to just try to lose 5-10 pounds.
Yeah, we've all kind of been there.
Right.
Well, even Mark at the end there, like first picture for the win the 10K, like he's not walking around like that all the time.
Right.
Like with like no water weight in him.
Yeah, he wasn't walking around like that 20 minutes probably after he took that after picture when he had his whatever he ate afterwards. He actually had a pretty good off boarding plan too, but yeah. So it's tough. It is what it is.
Do you think that's getting better or worse today? The quick fix mentality.
Worse.
I don't know. Both. It's better and worse. I think there's more people now countering that, calling it out than there used to be. And I know that's a lot of that's algorithms with social media. And if I interact with that content, I get served more of that content. But I do see a lot of influencers now kind of de-influencing that quick fix thing. So I don't know.
It's hard for me to tell.
I don't know.
Because I see a lot of good fitness advice, and I also see a lot of like you said, what irritated you yesterday is like the bad stuff. Where it's like, don't count calories,
I
don't do,
know.
which like makes no sense. You know, if you're going to lose weight, you got to put out more than you're intaking.
Right.
Got to start somewhere.
If the method is unsustainable, the results will be also. That's what I try to keep telling people. But
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting.
it's hard because it's
interesting
hard.
balance.
Weight loss is hard. Getting healthy is hard. Meal prepping is hard. It's very difficult. And so it what might take you 3 months to do something in a sustainable way, you could do in maybe 3 weeks unsustainably. But again, yeah, at the end of that 3 months, you could also be right back where you started because you've already fallen off and gone back to your bad habits, and usually even harder, like fallen off even harder. So I don't know. I think it's both harder and better.
I see a lot of gyms opening up, so it's also the part of me that's like, maybe we're getting better.
I know. Yeah, that's what we always talk about, how I don't consider other gyms our competition because we're all part of the same team. We all want people to get healthy, and that's going to help all of us. You know, that rising tides raises all ships. Our competition is fad diets. Our competition is the drive-through, Netflix, all the barriers to being
couch.
healthy. Yeah. The couch.
NFL Sunday.
Right. That March Madness, lots of alcohol
Oof.
consumed. So that is, to me, that is our competition, is the not other people out there trying to get people to be healthier. And I think for the most part, that's what most people who get into especially if you're owning a gym or running a gym, managing a gym, you want to open a gym, you're doing that from a good place, I think, for the most part.
Yes,
you want to help people.
Nobody's opening a gym to be a multimillionaire.
Yeah, there's no get rich quick schemes.
No, there
in
isn't.
the fitness industry when it comes to a gym.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Get quick fix is more than
maybe a
fad
supplement
diets.
that could be a get rich quick thing, but not for.
So I definitely don't consider
for what we do.
I don't consider other gyms our competition. So the more gyms that we have here in Lincoln, the more active people are going to be, and the more people want to try new things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a good thing. You need to find what works for you. Like some people don't like to do kickboxing. So Farrell's would not be a good fit for you. So go find something that you do like doing.
Yeah.
Don't come to Farrell's and not like kickboxing and then give up on fitness.
Right.
Like find something else. There's so many things you can do. Yeah, we don't understand that. I love kickboxing.
Oh, it's the greatest thing ever. To punch and kick something.
Yeah, I know, but some people don't like that.
It won't.
And that's okay. Go find something else to do. We want everyone to be healthy.
I don't know if we're in as good a shape as we thought we were, because when we were out curling, we were kind of winded.
Just the sweeping part.
Well, that was the big thing.
That was harder than I thought. Mostly because I was also afraid that we were going to fall, but we didn't.
We do got one from the text line. It's about the sweeping.
Okay.
Yes, curiosity.
Oh,
Unknown
good,
texter 1000. If you're having the curlers in, I just want to know if you and Nicole brought your brooms to work and swept the floors real good today.
No, but we did get to sweep. So like we said at the beginning, we went out to the Breslow Ice Arena and crashed one of their practices. We'll talk about this in the next segment too, but the athletes, the curlers, they weren't really interacting with us, which is totally fine because they are training for nationals.
Yeah, it was a live practice. You're right?
Yeah, we went to an actual practice, but their coach did spend about 30 minutes with us.
Yes, she was Nancy was her name.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, you got half an hour with the head coach?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So we learned how to, I don't remember what it's called, but
well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Like the shuttle off the board or whatever.
Yep.
We were sliding
did
around.
that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was fun. But you wear like these shoe guards. So you wear your regular shoes, but then they have their own curling shoes, but you put these little booties on and they're kind of grippy on the ice. Yeah, grippers. Little grippy on the ice, but it was really fun. But the sweeping is hard because we were running. So we did get some video footage of us doing the pushing part and with the stone. Is that what it's called?
Stone.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Jeff and I would record each other. Luckily, nobody recorded us sweeping because I could not keep up. I looked I probably looked ridiculous. and Nancy was being nice. Like she was probably being easy on us. Like
she was, I don't know. She was getting after us pretty good.
She was.
Like I was like, oh, I better freaking get this good.
She was doing like barking commands as you're sweeping.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Sleep, stop.
She was just, sweep. It was
So you got the full coaching experience.
Oh yeah, it was just unbelievable.
It was so fun though.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Now I wish we could go back and, because we've had other UNL athletes on. Now we're thinking we wish that we could go back and have done that with them before we had them on, like the bowlers.
Yeah, so we might
maybe not divers.
We might
well,
do
maybe.
some. We might do some investigating. We might.
Yeah.
We felt like journalists, right?
Mhm.
Like we went down there and we're with the ticket
Down in the trenches.
Yeah, we're in there just battling on the ice and sweeping and shoving off and learning all the ins and outs of how to throw the stone or push it or whatever it's called. I still don't know, but
Stone. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's a stone. Yeah. But we were in there, so
we have the experts coming with the terminology.
we thought maybe we do some fencing next.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
That was actually Dr. Adam's idea. I went and saw Dr. Adam this week, and he was showing me a stretch, and he was like, kind of like a fencer, and he pointed at me, he's like, fencing.
Yeah,
so because we had talked about my curling experience.
I mean, anybody can go shoot a basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a fencing club in Lincoln, so we're gonna look into that too.
That'd be a cool one.
Is it UNL though?
I don't know if there's a UNL affiliated fencing. We'll do some research.
Well,
find out.
We just have a few minutes before we go to break. So by next week, Harrison, we're probably going to know what the Bears have done, right?
Yeah, I think I already got a pretty good idea on where it's going. But
trading fields.
Yeah.
You think so?
Have you been listening to Caleb Williams interviews and have you like?
Is he coming around?
And
he's keeping the doors open. I'll put it that way. He's not like, I want to be a Bear. He's not saying that by any means.
He's a little.
He's a little dicey on the whole thing.
I guess I'm just happy. Whatever.
So I do have a story to tell because
about what?
Your Post-it note. What?
Oh, yeah.
What did you think I was going to say?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about how I didn't know what Nebraska backwards was.
Jeff didn't know what Exarban was.
Exarban?
Exarban.
Do you know?
See? No, now I feel dumb.
What?
Exarban. Why am I?
Okay, so in Omaha, they have like the Exarban Village. So there's a curling club in Omaha, and they at Exarban, and Jeff was like looking at me like, "Are you going to remember that?" And I'm like, "Exarban, it's Nebraska spelled backwards." You didn't know that?
Nope.
And the coach Nancy looked at Nicole and she said, "You must be a native Nebraskan."
Yeah. And look at you two, born in Nebraska. You didn't know. Have you never heard that though? Like didn't there used to be like a racetrack, an Exarban racetrack? I know there was.
I feel very uneducated.
Well, now you know. Yeah, because you looked at me like I was not going to remember that, and I'm like, what is there to write down? It's Nebraska spelled backwards. I know what Exarban is.
It's like, oh.
No, I was going to talk about real quick. So I shared this on Instagram too earlier this week. So Jeff is notorious for leaving Post-it notes all over with sometimes it's like Tecmo notes.
Okay, that'd be a fun one to stumble upon.
Yeah, that was on my Facebook memories that day too, the day I came in. So we switch off at the gyms each week. So when I come in to the new gym, so I came into Yankee Ridge on Thursday, and there's usually a crop of Post-it notes with phone numbers or people's names, like when you're writing the schedule, or I don't even know what they mean half the time. So sometimes I like to try to decipher them. But let me see if I can find it now.
The Tecmo Bowl makes me laugh. He's like, "Oh, look at Jeff staying so organized.
I'll
He's
show
got
you.
all his business notes." And you're like, "Wait, what is this?"
I'll show you, and I'll show you at break.
It's usually my online draft stuff. I'm plotting my draft chart.
That one was two Post-it
team,
notes.
Yeah.
This Harrison, this was the Post-it note that I came into. Read it.
38 QB, 32 years.
Now, what do you think that's for, Harrison?
If I had to take a stab at it, I'd say something to do with the very beloved franchise that's been disappointing you.
I was listening to this little blurb from Colin Cowherd.
Write that down. No,
he wrote it down and put it on a Post-it
like
note.
You hear that, like, yeah.
Was it really Post-it note worthy? Was my question.
Because I wanted to know. So he was going through it. He was just talking about how like kind of the difference between the Bears and the Packers was like the Packers in the last 32 years have had like 55 Pro Bowlers. The Bears have had 47. Like when you talk about their two like legendary franchises, like Fox loves to put the Bears on. They love to put the Packers on because people watch. And he said the only difference is in the last 32 years, the Packers, their 3 quarterbacks have started 98% of the games.
I mean, about 38.
In 32 years.
38.
And he's like,
That
and the
is
Bears
crazy.
have started 38 quarterbacks in 32 years. And we had a good little run with Cutler, who started for
Which
like
one?
4 or
Which one
5
was
years.
your favorite? Like, not even like the best one. Like a little fun run with any of these Bears quarterbacks.
Well, the one that got us to the Super Bowl, Rex Grossman, obviously.
That's more for you than me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But
Jay
yeah,
Cutler
so
was fun for me.
I wrote it down. I was just interesting. So he was just talking about like why the Bears should just draft Caleb Williams, because the Packers get the quarterback position right, and the Bears never do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he thinks if Green Bay had the number 1 pick, they would take Caleb Williams.
Even with Jordan Love.
Yep. So that was his opinion.
But that's what the Packers do.
Because they get it right.
Remember when they took Aaron Rodgers with
Yeah.
Favre?
Yeah, and they took
And
Jordan
Love
Love
with
yes. And what do
Rodgers.
we do? We signed Nick Foles and Andy Dalton.
So,
and,
but what were you going to do with that Post-it note? Because then you left it at
well,
the gym.
I just forgot to bring it with me.
Just a reminder.
It was my notes for the show today, like because I had, I just wanted to know.
We did find a post. I did find a Post-it note one time, a long time ago, and it just said cheesy bread on it.
Is that like grocery shopping? I'd have been.
It was a Domino's order, I think.
Order. I had to get my order in.
But then you must have abandoned it because it just said cheesy bread.
I'm not sure why I wrote that
It
down.
was on a full piece of paper.
I wanted to make sure I got that ordered.
I just like how you got to write that down. It's like, wow, I don't want to
Listen,
forget what it's called. Cheesy bread.
When
All
you
right.
get to be my age, Post-it notes and writing things down are critical
Yeah.
to remembering things.
But then you leave, then you forget the Post-it note. So
But that
was funny.
38 quarterbacks is drilled into my brain.
I knew exactly what it meant when I
Yep,
came
and
in.
so did Harrison.
Yeah.
38 QBs, 32 seasons.
I must write this down.
Will the madness end?
Eventually, right? You think?
I don't know. We were talking about this the other day. Like, if we're on the same trend here, 0-2 in Super Bowls from your time to my time. We got to wait about 20 some years in between.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I might not ever get one, but it's
All
part of the
right.
fun.
Yep.
It's all right. I said whatever they do, if they trade Fields and draft Caleb Williams, I'll be excited. If they keep Fields, I'll be excited.
I'll watch
It doesn't really matter.
I'll watch the first preseason game. Like, they got me. Like, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna always root for them.
We'll watch. That's what we do as sports fans.
All right. We got our
All right.
obligatory
Yep.
Bears talking.
Yep. It was just real quick though.
I know.
Just a few
But I
minutes.
did want to talk about that Post-it note.
All right. So we're going to be right back with Charlie and Brett from the UNL Curling Club. They're going to be in studio with us. So stay right with us on 93.7 The Ticket, the Fitness Fanatics.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Happy hour.
Husker softball in all preseason polls. In the 4 polls, 13th, 15th, 17th, and 18th. USA Softball is part of that. Softball America is one of them as well.
D1 softball. Top 20 as a team, and they have at least 2 players in every top 50, top 100 poll, with Jordy Ball being anywhere from second. Honestly, I think third was her lowest ranking in some of those. And Billy Andrews, usually those two. There was one that had Kate Kaneda.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you teach your children how to set and reach goals, you'll do more than just help them succeed in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Motivation and goal setting build confidence and instill a drive that will benefit children their entire lives. It will also help them become more positive thinkers. Working together, parents and teachers are a powerful team for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
Their age?
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters.
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to the Fitness Fanatics. We are joined in studio by 2 curlers. Yes, I said that correctly. Curlers from
Right.
the UNL Curling Club.
Is that what you guys call yourselves? Curlers? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's mentioned at the top of the hour, Nicole and I had a chance to go down to one of their practices on Tuesday night and got some ice time with the head coach, Nancy. Spent about 30, 40 minutes with us. Was that good to get her away from you guys for 40 minutes or?
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
No, we're not trying to get you in trouble. She was super nice.
Oh, she was.
We weren't even sure if we were going to be able to try it. So she was like right on it. She did awesome.
She was super nice until we
It
were
was time
running
to sweep.
We were running down the ice and she was harping on us to sweep and stop and sweep and stop. And at the end, my heart was just.
And then I would have made it a dead stone many times. I hit the stone with my brush many times.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
You should have probably been in the one in the back.
I
then.
know. I was in the back. Well, I don't know.
I was in the back. You were in the front.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But first.
All right. So first, we want to get to know these guys. So we'll start. We have Charlie and Brett in here. We're going to start with you, Charlie. So we want to find out, and our listeners want to know, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school at? How'd you end up at Nebraska? And most importantly, how do you end up being a curler?
How did you get into curling?
Yes.
So I'm from Hillsborough, Kansas, small town, about 3,000 people. So only one high school there, Hillsborough High. And there, like there's no curling there. So the sports I did was wrestling and track. And to get to Nebraska, for a while, I didn't really know what I wanted to go into. And so after my junior year during the pandemic, I realized, I kind of like film production and film editing. And I found out that Nebraska had a great film program. And so I applied for that and then I got in, and that's what sold me on Nebraska. And so I get here and, I'm just kind of doing my own thing, going to classes, just making some friends, but not really joining any clubs, just because I didn't really know much about what there was to do.
Right.
But one of the friends that I made during like the first couple days of moving up here, Seamus, who is now our curling president, he discovered the curling club. He had been curling for many years in high school. So when he got here, he found the curling club. He joined it, and then like 3 to 4 weeks into the semester, after he had been going to practices, he knew that they needed more players, and so he was like, "Hey, Charlie, what are you doing Tuesday nights?" I said, "I'm got nothing going on." He said, "You want to come join curling practice?" I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And so then I went, and I liked it, and I decided to keep going back.
Were you familiar with curling before that, or were you like, what do you mean curling practice? What are you talking about?
No, I did know what it was. Like most people, I knew what it was because of the Olympics.
Yeah, yeah.
But I did always think that it was a fascinating sport. And so it's a very niche sport too. Like you don't meet a lot of people who curl. So when he asked me if I wanted to join, I was like, oh, that's like, yeah, I want to join. That's really cool, because like, where else am I going to find an opportunity to curl?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's a really cool way to just experience something new in college. And yeah, that's like you said, very niche.
All right, Brett, how about you?
So I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's where I partially grew up. I eventually ended up moving down when I was moving down to Portage, Wisconsin, which is about, 40 minutes north of Madison.
Okay.
When I was 7. And being new to this smaller, city, it's about 10,000 people. And we not knowing kind of exactly what to do. Curling was the big sport there. And so basically probably it was about 7 or 8. You're like, we'll try this. And I've kind of been doing it ever since. Now, as for coming to Nebraska, so when I started looking into colleges, it was we had some friends that had actually looked down here
Yeah.
and thought it was a very nice campus. They were split between going here and Madison. They ended up going to Madison, but we said, just kind of for the fun of it, we'll come down and take a look.
Right.
And I pretty much fell in love with the campus and the program here I'm going for software engineering.
Okay.
And the program here was really well done. So I'm like, it's kind of where I was going.
So was the curling club something you sought out right away just because it was something you were already interested in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now in Portage, was there like curling for high school, or were there like competitions when you were growing up? Because you said you started at 7 or 8. So like, how did that look like growing up?
Clubs.
Portage has their own dedicated curling club. And so, I mean, I did end up doing it through high school. We'd travel to other places and
okay.
compete against other teams.
That's cool.
Are there schools up there that have it as part of their school, like sports?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very much school sport.
Oh, okay. That's great. Like high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, nobody from around here is usually familiar with actually having an opportunity to practice curling. Yeah.
I mean, when I lived in Green Bay, we didn't even know there was a curling club. It's like in this almost like strip mall area tucked away behind Lambeau Field.
Oh.
So we didn't even know it existed until after we traveled there for a curling competition.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, no. I was just going to say, I was just up at Green Bay last year and take a tour of Lambeau Field, and they failed to point that out to me.
They didn't talk any curling
No.
at Lambeau Field. They didn't say now behind the stadium.
No, that was not part of the tour. Now I'm upset. Now I think when I go back in a month, I think I should.
Yeah, you'll be back next month, and you'll have to go check it out.
Let's go back to high school. Any like defining moments in your track career, your wrestling career? You'd be like, so defining moments, meaning like when I was in high school, my defining moment was intercepting a pass in the JV game when I was a senior in high school for football. Like that was like my shining moment, my one shining moment. Like any of those for you, like you won this or that, or
it can be a positive thing. Yours was kind of not the
mine
greatest.
was positive.
Okay.
I intercepted the pass.
Yeah. Okay.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so mine does start out positive, but then it kind of goes negative.
Yes.
So my sophomore year of high school, so I was a pole vaulter.
Oh, that is awesome.
What?
And we need to talk about that.
And I think I started out the year like not really, like I had kind of like plateaued a little bit. And then I don't remember what height I was getting at that point. But then I went up to basically a pole vault club. Like there's his name is it's Tailwind Pole Vaulting. The instructor there, his name is Mark Broll. He coached for, I think it was like one of the world championships for the US. So he's a really great coach. And he can just watch you go one time and tell you exactly like what's wrong. Like either you need to step back 1 inch or you need to raise your hand up just like half a hand grip, and like then the next go will be perfect. So I went up to him. I'd been going to him for a couple of years at that point, but I went up to him, and so he helped me work through the struggle that I had, and then gave me a couple poles to use for the rest of the season, and then I ended up qualifying for state.
Oh, awesome.
And so that was like really great for me. I was like, this is so cool. I'm going to state and pole vault. And then we get to state, and I cleared the first height. And then the second height, my first attempt at it, I'm going and my steps were off. And so when you take off in pole vault, you want your body to basically be like straight up and down, like vertical. Like if you were to freeze frame it from the side, looking at it, like you want your arm straight up to be perfectly in line with your plant leg. And that was not the case for me at that point. I was very much diagonal, like my plant leg very far in front of where my hand was. And because of that, I went up and I stalled, and then the pole recoiled and hit me in the face.
Oh, no.
and I got a scar over my eye because it hit me in the glasses. The glasses popped off, the lens popped out, cut me, and I had to get stitches there at the stadium. And then after that, I wasn't able to ever pole vault as well again. I think it was just like kind of a mental block kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
It's not like that was always in the back of my mind, just kind of being scared that something like that would happen again. But yeah.
Well,
Did you know immediately? Like, did you know when you were approaching that it was already off?
Not as I was approaching, but
Yeah.
as soon as I planted and then started going off the ground, I could tell that it was off. And I was like, this is not gonna go well.
Yeah.
I cannot think of I don't know about you
Scarier.
guys, but to try to pole vault,
I do not want to try to pole
I
vault.
would be literally scared out of my mind. Like
Yeah.
just watching that. I mean, I don't know how you do it or anybody does it because it is just like the craziest thing.
I know.
Like for diving, give me on a high, I'll jump in the water, but I don't think I would ever even attempt.
No.
To do. I don't even
think
know
so
if I
either.
could carry the.
What's the
pole.
lowest like height? What do you start at? Like,
It kind of depends on the meet or the tournament. But typically, what it is they'll look at the top 6 heights coming in, and then they'll go down 1 foot from that.
Mhm.
So like the person with the highest PR of the season, like if it's at 13 foot, then they'll start with him, and then they'll go down. So like let's say the 6th highest vault coming in is 11'6". Then the starting height would probably be 10'6".
That sounds scary.
I get a little scared standing on something 10 feet high, looking down.
You'd be afraid to stand on that chair, right
I
there.
probably would be,
especially because it's
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
All right, well, let's go to break.
Well, we got to get Brett's
Oh,
story.
I
here.
thought we didn't have time.
Oh,
Do
we
have
got a
time?
few minutes, right?
We can crunch
Oh,
it down.
okay.
All right. So, what's your cool moment like that in high school?
Well, I was in the marching band, so
Same,
no one.
Same with me.
Yep.
I can relate.
No
yes.
one. No one really sits out for anything. So
Yeah. Did you have like competitions? Did you place well in marching band competitions? Did you get to go somewhere cool? Like our son went
I
to
think-
Nashville for marching band. That was
well,
cool
we
for
didn't
him.
get to travel that much. At least the majority of our travel for marching band mostly consisted going to like the Milwaukee area.
Mm-hmm.
So
What instrument did you play?
I played trumpet.
Okay, that's what our son plays.
But I think probably the best for me would have been like my freshman year when we actually had my high school, we had a really big marching band.
Mhm.
And it was just, the atmosphere was lots of fun.
Yeah, that is cool. Our son's school has a big marching band. It's always fun watching them at the competitions, and then all the little schools come out, and you're just like, oh, bless their little hearts. They're just their little marching band.
So I was in marching band also, and at our state competition, there's always this school that went right before us, and they went out and they had their they didn't have their music memorized. They had the music on their instruments. When it was time to move formations, they would blow a whistle, right? So then we come up right after them, and we looked like the 95 Huskers, right?
Of marching bands.
Of marching band. Just, I mean, compared to that little school, we were just incredible.
Yeah.
Music memorized, no whistles, and we always got 1 ratings. I think because the
Did you
judges
earn
were always
it, or was it just because in comparison?
isn't it, I mean, I don't know.
Was it PCM? Who was it?
Bondurant Ferrari?
Oh, Bondurant. That's right.
Yeah.
We
Just
kind of
little
grew up
whistles.
in the similar school district, so I couldn't remember. I knew it was one of the ones.
Yeah, they were
up by there.
They were
Yeah.
always just yeah. So I always thought like for marching band, having to memorize your music for one is tough.
Yep.
Then knowing when to move.
Yeah, it's stressful.
It's very, very tough. Very tough.
I get stressed watching Ben march, our son. I get stressed out. Like, how does he know how to do all of this stuff? I don't
Well,
play an
I'll-
instrument either.
I'll
so
tell you what. At one of the games at halftime, or at their little he goes to Lincoln East
Exhibition. Mhm.
exhibition. Somebody got to go on the field with them and do some marching drills. And I'll tell you what, I was probably the best one out
you
there.
really did do
Oh,
well.
I was perfect.
Yeah,
I was heel to toe. I mean,
Yeah.
I was taking
You
this.
went back in time.
I was taking this thing like it was the marching band Olympics.
You were
out there.
Yeah.
Like I wanted people to look out and be like, wow, Ben's
He's done
dad
this
just,
before.
Yeah.
I know.
So that was really cool.
You did actually do really
Maybe
well.
that was my defining moment.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Like that's supposed to be a cool memory for Ben to have, and Jeff's like,
Yeah.
that was my day.
Right.
It was cool.
It was cool for Ben too. I think you made Ben proud.
That's right.
Yes, you did.
I was focused and ready. So
Yeah.
I have 7 years of band, and we did parades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was pretty cool. But all right, well,
Okay.
we'll go to break. We'll be right back with these guys here. Coming up on 93.7 The Ticket, Fitness Fanatics.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives. Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Jake Sorensen here for The Body Shop. My wife is nearing her due date with our first child and has been in need of a good massage as her body continues to change and adapt. Dennis and the team at The Body Shop were incredible with the prenatal massage that she's still talking about today. I was also able to get a deep tissue massage, so it was a great bonding experience and a unique couples massage in general. If you're in need of stress relief, book a massage today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Happy hour. Husker softball in all preseason polls. In the 4 polls, 13th, 15th, 17th, and 18th. USA Softball is part of that. Softball America is one of them as well. D1 Softball.
Top 20 as a team, and they have at least 2 players in every top 50, top 100 poll, with Jordy Ball being anywhere from second. Honestly, I think third was her lowest ranking in some of those. And Billy Andrews, usually it's those two. There was one that had Kate Kaneda.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Meep, meep, meep.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we are back here. Just got a quick segment. Well, we have one NFL fan in here, so we're going to get to one of our favorite segments. Charlie, we want to know favorite NFL team and how you became a fan of that team.
So favorite NFL team is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Which we figured.
And we'll allow it because you're from there, I guess.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
very,
it's okay.
very pleased with this season.
This little run you guys are on.
And so how I got into it, well, let's see. So growing up, like my dad, he'd turn on the games on Sunday afternoons when we got back from church. But I was like way too young to really like want to sit down and pay attention to them. Like I'd just go do my own thing. And he'd just watch them. I don't know if he'd watch them in full or what, but I'd just like occasionally walk out, see the game on, see him sitting watching it. But then 2013, so the year that Andy Reid came to the Chiefs, like I was 10 years old at that point, so I had no idea like what was going on in the football world. I had no idea that he had never been there before. But I was just like, you know what? This is the year I'm gonna start watching football with my dad. And so like
what a rough life you had ever since.
I know, like it makes me seem like a bandwagon because I started watching them right as they like when Reed got there, once they started having all that success. But it just happened to be the first year I was like, you know what? I think I'm old enough I can sit down and watch this.
Yeah.
And then I would like almost every Sunday I'd just sit down and watch it with him that year. They made it to the playoffs. They lost in the playoffs and I got like really disappointed. And then like next year happened and I'd like, watch it again and then continue that. And now I never miss a game. We've been up to Arrowhead 4 times now together. And so like, yeah, like it's just mostly it was just because my dad would watch them. Like if he didn't turn them on, at some point I probably would have started watching them, but it then definitely wouldn't have been that early.
Yeah.
That was our son too. He kind of got into football pretty late, but then he is all in now. He's a huge football fan. Yep.
Yes. Well, Harris and I are Bears fans. So it's been a rough go for us.
Yes. No.
So it's been 40 years for me since my team's won the Super Bowl. Harrison's never seen his team win the Super Bowl.
24 years in.
I know.
But that's okay because the joy of sports is when we finally win one.
If it's never a guarantee, that's the scariest part.
But I'll tell you, the older that I've gotten, it's like when I was like young and Nebraska would lose. I mean, it was just.
That's why like when people get upset, like you even hear of if Nebraska wins the NIT game, does that really count? Like,
the play-in game.
Why even have that conversation?
The play-in.
Yeah.
We've never
the play-in game.
Yeah, right. I don't care. I'm counting it. I'll hang any banner and celebrate any sort of title.
But as the older I get, it's like, yeah, if your team, like the year we beat Iowa, right? Football. I mean, it was just glorious.
You had to savor it. That's why it's okay. It's okay to savor those.
But then it's like, well, I got to get up and go to work. I got to pay the bills. So it's like your perspective changes a little bit, versus when you were younger and you have no responsibilities and you're just having fun. But it was used to be life and death for me as a Husker fan. Now I kind of make this joke of we have a 17-year-old. I used to cry when Nebraska would lose a game. Now he cries when they win a game, right? It's been such a rarity.
That might be you if the Bears come around.
I will
back
cry.
around.
I'll definitely cry. That's okay with that. I'm
Tears
okay
of
admitting
joy.
it.
Tears
Yeah.
of joy. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to go to break here. We're going to dive all into curling.
Yeah. So if
coming
any
up here.
listeners have questions,
Yep. If you have any questions about curling, you can text the show, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. So stay right with us. We'll be right back on 93.7 The Ticket.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives. Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Quote tweeted at
You
the
did
other
feel
day.
the need to cuss in this one. Yeah. You cannot be this mentally fragile. Act like you're a damned NCAA tournament team.
Listen, I'm not going to change the way I tweet.
Do you think Fred
That's
saw
me.
the tweet? Do you think Fred saw the tweet and
called a timeout and they're like, Sorensen's upset.
I got to get this early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Here in the heart of the Midwest, the call of the wild meets the passion for conservation. At Nebraska Game and Parks, we're not just preserving nature, we are shaping its future. Work in our state parks or as a biologist, accountant, conservation officer, or a variety of other roles. And come work where you love to play. You can make a difference for Nebraskans and for our state's wildlife and wild places. Apply today at outdoornebraska.gov.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now here are your hosts, Jeff and Nicole Essig.
All right, welcome back in here, top of the hour. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch us on the podcast, any platform you listen to. We're also on theticketfm.com under Ticket Weekends. If you have any questions for these guys, you can text us 402-464-5685. So we have a lot to get into with the sport of curling. Most of you listening probably have only seen this on the Olympics every 4 years. Check it in. I always know if the USA is on, I'll tune in to see how they're doing. I'm not going to probably sit there and watch Finland versus Sweden a curling match, but if it's the USA, I'll watch anything with USA on the Olympics. So that's pretty cool. So we want to start with talk about the equipment that you need for curling. Okay, so
yeah, because we went to practice, and so there's just certain things that I didn't know I knew that you didn't wear ice skates. I knew you didn't ice skate in curling.
Now there was a part of me that was wondering if I was gonna have to ice skate when I went in there
at first, but then you're like, no, you can't. That would be. Can you imagine curling in ice skates?
One that would be really hard.
It really would be. I don't know how that would work.
So it's one of those things that you don't really think about, but then when you do think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You totally wouldn't do it. So we had to put grippers on our shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys have curling specific shoes.
Yes.
Now, Brett, was it you that do your shoes have two different like surfaces? Because you were like almost skating out there.
Yeah. So specifically for like curling shoes, depending if you're right-handed or left-handed, depends on which side the slippery part is.
Yeah.
But one of them is going to be grippy, and the other shoe will have what we call a slider. I don't remember the exact material of what it's called, but it's very, very slippery on the ice and allows you to slide very easily.
Yeah, we stood on a slider when we did our
slid
push.
Too.
Yeah, but because we had our grippers on, we stood on one.
And then when you're not needing that, there's a gripper, what we call a gripper, and it's this little, I suppose it like hooks onto the shoe.
Oh, okay.
So like you can put it on the bottom of the shoe, so that way you can walk on the ice without being all over the place.
Yeah, because that was especially when you're sweeping.
We were really grateful for the grippers, or I would have been taking dives on the ice the whole time.
Yep. So first of all, you have the special shoes with the grippers and the slides, and then for our listeners, the broom material was different. I don't know what I expected. I didn't really have an expectation, but it was kind of like a I don't even know, like a plasticky canvas material kind
some
of.
of them are that way.
Yeah.
A lot of brooms that at least like you'd see like in the Olympics that a lot of like professional players would use, they're made of carbon fiber.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
And
ours were not. That's not
telling-
in that budget. It's not in the budget for the UNL Curling Club.
We kind of own your own broom.
Oh, okay.
Those aren't, I mean, the club usually will have brooms that they own, but most people own their own.
It's not in the college student budget, carbon fiber brooms.
No.
No.
And the purpose of the sweeping, this is something I didn't really know. As you're watching, you're just like, oh, this is really cool.
Well, okay.
So what's the purpose of the sweeping the brooms themselves?
So that is to help, like it can either help the stone go further across the ice, or it can help it why it's called curling. It'll help the stone curl, like start to change direction, because the sweeping causes friction and heat, so it melts the ice a little bit, and with that layer of melted ice, that's what helps the stone either slide a little bit further, or depending on it, like there's a thing called directional sweeping, where you might be sweeping like just specifically on one half of the stone to help it go into the certain direction that you want it to go.
Okay.
I was also surprised how heavy the stone was.
Yeah. So we need to tell what the stone is.
Okay.
So the stone is what you actually push down the ice, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how heavy is the stone?
There's a range anywhere between 41 and 44 pounds. It usually averages to about 42 pounds. And it's made of granite.
Okay.
Yep.
And Nancy was kind of showing us the bottom, like, because I thought, like, comparing it to bowling, right? Some people will go bowl and they'll just bowl straight. Some people you watch and they just like it goes all the way out to the gutter and then just all the way back.
You can do that. You do that.
Yeah, I can put a little curve on there. I'm actually pretty good I'm a pretty good bowler.
You are.
Well, I was.
Yeah.
A long time ago. I don't know if I am now, but I used to be a pretty good bowler.
Yeah. I cannot do that.
So one thing that we thought was fascinating with the stone, I just thought you just go and you push it just straight. But Nancy said if you push the stone straight, it'll go to Kansas. It'll just shoot off and go to Kansas, right?
Yep.
That's what she
Pretty
told
much.
us.
That's what she said. Yeah.
So you have to like put a little spin on it because the bottom, I can't remember what she was saying. There's something with the bottom.
So the bottom
They
of the
know.
stone,
Yes.
so the bottom of the stone almost looks, it's not flat. The
Yes.
stone rides on a little ring that's probably about this big around, about where my hand would be.
Right.
And so that inside of that ring actually goes back up and curves upwards, so that stone's only riding on that little ring.
Yeah, it's almost like a donut on the inside. There's an inner circle.
So it's probably
to
like a foot
dent.
a foot wide, but it's only going on like 4 or 5 inch diameter underneath.
About
Yeah.
something
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's a lot of stuff you have to do and think about. What's the name of the person who pushes the stone?
That's the thrower.
The thrower. Okay.
Mhm.
That was my favorite part. I liked that. I was pretty good at it, except the 2 times that I pushed off the wrong leg.
Well, we didn't
But-
actually get to throw the stone.
No, you're right. I was just good at pushing off.
Like, I don't
parts.
think Nancy wanted us to take out any of these guys.
I didn't want to either.
Now we're in the next lane.
Yeah.
Like,
And in all fairness, we also had an assist. We had the thing that we were holding.
Yep.
But you guys hold your brooms.
Yeah.
So
A
you
lot-
have that too.
A lot of people hold their brooms. I've seen also a lot of players that do use the stabilizers.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So that wasn't like
It just
training
kinda
wheels.
depends on sometimes like maybe like Nancy, like she's said like with at her age with how like I think one time she said with because of how many children that she's had that she's had, like her body isn't what it used to be, so she can't like keep that balance as well with the broom, so like she uses a stabilizer. So yeah, so it just kind of depends on your comfort.
Okay.
Like if you feel like a broom you're not going to be stable with, like you might fall to one side with it, then just use a
so
stabilizer.
if you
Okay.
see you go out for a competition and you see the other team is using stabilizers, is it like Bonder and Farrar having their music up?
Or do you guys have people that use stabilizers?
It's all preference.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was-
Well,
it-
that makes me feel better because I thought she was just like coddling us with
She-
the stabilizer.
she was.
She was on other stuff, but it's good to know that the stabilizer is actually
Okay.
I mean,
official
we
equipment.
do have the it's a big stick that we have for those who can't bend down and get down in what we'd call the hack.
Mhm.
So it's literally a big stick that attaches the handle. You can walk out with it
Oh,
and
okay.
push the stone with this big stick.
Mhm. Yeah.
But like even like when you're learning to curl for the first time, like I'm pretty sure that Nancy had me use a stabilizer the first couple times that I was throwing too when she
Yeah.
taught me, because like it's just an easy way to get into it. And
Yeah,
to,
it's like one less thing to think about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I thought that was my favorite part, the throwing. Even though I never got to the black line. I wanted to try it one more time to try to get past the black line. But
Did I
that's
get
okay.
past the black line?
No, but you got closer to it than me. Even though your form
Well,
looked
obviously.
little suspicious.
Obviously, I
what's
was gonna
this
get
black
there.
line that you guys are trying to get.
Yeah.
What is
so
the black line?
I'll talk about it. So the black line is called the hog line. So I don't know how many feet it is.
It's pretty far.
But,
Okay.
I
I'm
don't
just gonna
remember
say.
what regulation distance for it normally is.
But so in the place where like when you're looking at the sheet of ice, like you'll see what looks like a target. That's called the house.
Yes.
And so then the playable area is from the back of the house up to the hog line. And so that's where like if you land a stone in that area, then it's in play. And when you're taking off, when you're pushing the stone, you have to let go of the stone handle before you cross the hog line. So sometimes like you might want to get as
Mhm.
close to the hog line as you can. Other times you might want to release it like a little bit before. Like if you're someone who can't make it there, then like you don't want to like try to get there and then slow yourself down and then let go of the stone and then it won't go as far. Like you want to
Yeah.
let go of it like when it's still going to have a lot of speed.
When you have the momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did try to like eke through and I didn't go anywhere when I was trying to eke those last couple. But yeah. So what is it? Harrison, did you look it up?
Well, I got 114 feet tall. I don't know exactly where the hog line's
I
at.
know the sheet in total I think is about It's between, I can't remember exactly, but from the back of the the back of the house to the other back of the house, I think it's anywhere supposed to be. It's either 150 feet or it's 175.
Yeah, this one's got 150 feet.
Yeah, that'd be 150. Yep.
Mhm.
Now the hog line is also not normally a black line. It's usually denoted by like a ribbon.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually much easier to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
just black
just-
because of the like for ice hockey.
Because it's
for
They're
the ice
offside
that
lines.
we're on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
talk about.
So that's our experience curling.
Yes. Are we
Although
done
the
with-
sweeping was really hard too. I could not keep up with Nancy, and I have a feeling she probably was taking it easy on us a little bit. Do you feel like you're running when you're sweeping?
You are very much right.
Yeah, definitely. There are times like when it starts slowing down, like, or if it's just like not a heavy throw, like then you might be walking with it a little bit. But like there are times where like I will have to run to catch up to the stone before I can like to be there so I can start sweeping.
Yeah.
And you'll see it's almost kind of funny, especially like really good sweepers. You'll see them running with the stone, but as they're sweeping, they're almost doing like this little funny little dance with their feet.
That was hard. That
That's
part was
probably
hard.
what we look like.
Yeah,
Doing a
no.
little dance with our feet.
Is it hard just to stay in pace with the stone itself? Like to
Yes.
get that speed down? Like, is that the hardest part? Like, matching the speed of the stone while you're sweeping? Just keeping your balance doing that?
Keeping your balance while doing it can be can be difficult.
Because you want to get really low, right? I mean, most people are. Is that what Nancy said, or am I thinking of
Just to get leverage.
throwing?
I mean,
Is it
there's a
depends on the
combination
person?
of two things that help sweeping. It's the speed of the broom head moving across the ice, as well as the amount of weight
Okay.
pressure it's down on the ice.
Yeah.
So the more of both you can do, the more effective the sweeping is.
Like like I found like the lower I have my hand on my broom handle, like the closer I am to the broom head, like then the more weight I'm gonna put on, right? Instead of like if I'm holding it like in the top half of the broom.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like curling is basically like a sport of geometry, which I failed geometry in high school.
It kind of is, especially if you're on the end, the skip making calls, is you're having to look at all sorts of angles of how, especially if you're wanting rocks to move, you have to look at the angles of how you're going to hit other things.
Yeah, let's talk about
to do
that.
What you want.
Let's talk about the
teammate,
positions.
the positions. Yes.
What are the positions in? And does everybody? Do you guys rotate through those positions?
So there's 4 positions. There's lead, there's second, there's vice, and there's skip. And typically like the lead and second, like between competition, like they might switch, but like once you're at a game, like and especially like once you're in a game, like there's not going to be any rotating of who plays what position, because once the skips typically, like Brett he's one of our skips. He knows exactly what to do when he's down there. Me, like that's not something that I'd be able to do because I don't know how to read the ice like he can.
Okay, I gotcha. So then what are the positions? Like what does each position do?
So first, or sometimes called lead, will be the person they're going to throw first. They throw first in the rotation. Second will throw second, although each person does throw 2 stones.
Okay.
And then after that, the vice will throw. I'll usually often call it third, just from where I'm from. So then the third will throw, and then the third actually goes down and holds the broom for the skip, for the skip to throw. The first and second, if they're not throwing, are always sweeping.
Okay. And then so that kind of rotates the throwing and the skipping. You kind of not the skipping, the sweeping.
Yep.
You rotate through that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what does the skip do? That's the geometry part.
Yep. So the skip, they sit on the other end of the ice. They're calling the shots. They're the ones who tell everyone else what to throw, when to sweep, that kind of thing.
So the skip is the one telling them to sweep and to stop, but they're on the clear other side.
Yep.
Like
So
they're at the hack.
Yeah, you are yelling.
Yeah.
You are screaming at the top of your lungs to get them to do something.
Because that was part of it too with Nancy. She would, when we were sweeping, she would be like, sweep. And then she would say, stop. And you'd have to stop. And then I'm assuming you're watching how it's going. And then you're telling them to sweep again if they wanted to keep going or whatever.
So how can you see all the way down?
Yeah, because it's
across the ice.
because they have
to know,
young
like,
eyes. That's why.
Like,
Well, usually the sweeper's job is really to maintain weight of where the skip wants the stone to end up. So the sweepers are the ones who are going to figure out, is the stone actually going to make it there? I mean, after so many years as being a skip, I can tell just by watching the stone where it kind of might end up and can help them with that. But the skip and the thrower are usually bent down on the ice. They're looking at the line it's taking.
Yeah, because the ice is different for every. You kind of have to get the feel for the ice, right?
Yes, it's different for every game.
Yep.
And does it change game to game too as it's played on more?
Yep. So it changes every game because you have to re-pebble and rerun the rocks over it every time.
what does that mean? What's re-pebble and what does that mean?
So pebbling.
We saw them pebble.
Yeah.
Do you
well,
remember? Okay.
Yeah, but I
okay.
just want to know what it is.
Okay.
Yep. Pebbling is when we take we take hot water and we spray little droplets on the ice.
Okay.
And it freezes into like these little bubbles.
Okay.
So there's all these little bubbles on the ice. And that's what allows the rock to curl. So that little ring on the bottom of the rock grabs these little pebbles, these little ridges, and as it turns, those little grabs that it helps it forces it to go in different directions.
Yeah, because you're not just pushing the stone, you also have to turn it.
Yep.
What we have to, and you can turn it right or left, and you have to turn from
10 to
10
noon,
to noon,
2 to noon.
Yep. Yeah, it's very complicated.
Very complicated. Like,
no, now that I'm really thinking about it, because we only pushed off, or what's that called again? Throwing. Yeah. I can't imagine. We did get to practice the curling part too, but I can't imagine putting
just
the
about
two together.
From this is the distance we were apart.
Literally, yeah. I know. And so I can't imagine putting the two together. The pushing off the hack, which is the like kind of looks like a base that you stand on, push off. And then actually having to turn the curler or the stone too, because it doesn't just go straight. Like you have to put a little twist on it, which we talked about. But
so like as the skip, like I feel like if I look at a sheet of ice, to me it looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
I don't have any clue what I'm looking for. I'm like, what are we looking at? This all looks the same to me, but you can get down there and see all these different things for it's really interesting. Like
it's similar to when we were talking about bowling off air and when we had the bowlers on and they would have to go practice because the oil on the lanes would be different.
The patterns and stuff.
Yeah, the oil patterns and stuff. And now, is there a strategy to pebbling?
There are different. So when you pebble, as you take, and you're taking waters that's sprouting out from this, like, I don't know exactly what to call it.
Mhm.
It's usually like referred to as like the head.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but it
like
has
a
a bunch
sprayer.
of holes. Yep.
Yeah.
So as you throw it and it comes up like this, there are different patterns, but
And who chooses that? Is it like the home?
usually that's the person pebbling, but I know there are different patterns, but they're almost never used. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
usually the same pattern.
Yeah.
Just because you stand down the middle and you go like this, throwing it all
Mhm.
the pebble everywhere.
Who pebbles then? Is that a
Um,
separate person?
Yes, it's usually one of the main
Like a-
person,
okay.
one of the people who takes care of the ice will usually do it.
So if you go to, and we'll talk about this maybe in our next
Yeah,
session.
the competitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to that competition, is it the basically that home ice? Is
Yeah,
the
they
pebbler?
will do that.
Okay,
So is
interesting.
that kind of like a home ice advantage?
No.
Oh, so it doesn't really matter.
No, because it's usually an official doing it.
Oh,
The teams
okay.
do not prep the ice.
Well, we know
Okay.
how officials go, right? When you go on the road, the officials, like if you go to Michigan to curl, I mean, they might
Wisconsin.
throw some fancy stuff out there. You're like, wait a minute, that wasn't a foul.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a foul here.
The official, other than prepping the ice, actually has almost no say in the game.
Okay.
That is
okay. That's good.
Yep, it's
No conflict of
Yep.
interest there.
Curling is referred to as a gentleman's sport because if there's any sort of conflict, the two skips will work it out.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. Well, let's throw it to break.
Yeah.
And before we go, you guys are going to a national tournament here coming up. So
Mhm.
we're going to talk about that and how you got there and qualified and what goes on at a curling meet. So stay, if that's what it's called, meet match.
We'll
Called
talk.
a-
We'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
we'll talk about it
it.
next session.
When I was texting Charlie, I was like, do we just go in where the ice is? Like, I didn't even know what to call the place where the ice is. All right. Well,
Okay.
we'll be back here on Fitness Fanatics 93.7 The Ticket.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Años, cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
You did feel the need to cuss in this one. Yeah, you cannot be this mentally fragile. Act like you're a damned NCAA tournament team.
Listen, I'm not going to change the way I tweet. Do you think Fred saw the tweet? Do you think Fred saw the tweet and called a timeout and they're like, Sorensen's upset? I got to get this.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
I could write a commercial telling you how great waffle weekends are at the chocolate season. Or I could just have Rico read you the menu.
Banana Nutella topped Belgian waffle with homemade whipped cream, chocolate chips, and freshly sliced bananas. Baconator, buttermilk waffle with bacon slices tucked inside, topped with salted whipped butter, caramelized pecans, and pure maple syrup.
Waffle weekend brunches at the chocolate season.
PB&J.
40th and Old Cheney or online at thechocolateseason.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
On the block with Strick and Austin.
Now, to tie it back to Nebraska men's basketball, this group has a chance to do something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
You know, in making a run in the Big Ten tournament, a serious run, in winning the first NCAA tournament game, but they're not going to get there by doing the same things they've always done. It is on this team to step up and change that narrative. It won't change on its own. Teams won't lay over for you, and that's the mindset shift we haven't consistently seen yet.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Early break with Sip and Jake.
You did feel the need to cuss in this one. Yeah, you cannot be this mentally fragile. Act like you're a damned NCAA tournament team.
Listen, I'm not going to change the way I tweet. Do you think Fred saw the tweet? Do you think Fred saw the tweet and called a timeout, and they're like, Sorensen's upset. I got to get this.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in Fitness Fanatics. We're joined by Charlie and Brett. They are part of the UNL Curling Club. Before we get into the national tournament these guys are going to later this month, I believe, we want to talk about the training that goes into it.
Brett was talking about camps that you've gone to before.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of talk about that, some of the training in the camps. I was
So-
almost going to sit down and then I changed my mind. That's what happened.
So there is a lot of work that we do put into doing this. Some of them it is just playing over and over and over again. But like some of the camps that I've gone to, like the one in Blaine, Minnesota, or I think now it's in Chaska, but there are coaches that coach the national teams. Like Blaine was or is, I'm not sure anymore, but at one point was the practice arena for the Olympic team.
Okay. Very cool.
So we'd have coaches come in, and they would teach you different skills and different things you want to work on to help build your ability.
And so you were talking about how they would do like sweeping drills where you just had to sweep like back and forth just constantly.
Yes, we would have
with no stones, just sweep,
Nope.
sweep.
Yep, you'd sweep down what we call the center line or the center of the sheet, and it's a line, and you'd sweep it down that, and you'd sweep down to the other end. You'd come back, and then you would do that 2 more times, with no break, and it
like
is
sprinting for curlers.
Yeah,
basically.
it takes a lot out of you for doing those.
I want to do it. I think it'd be fun.
Well, maybe if we get out to the curling deal in Omaha.
We'll talk about that later too. I have it pulled up, but yeah, that sounds like a fun challenge.
So
Because
pretty much
sweeping is hard.
pretty much some
that a lot.
some Joe Schmo that's out of shape couldn't come in and just sweep in a curling competition.
They could, yes. It wouldn't be easy.
They'd get tired very quickly, and their form and how well that their sweeping would quickly deplete. It'd go down.
So what does a typical practice look like, or a typical season? So do you have when your season starts, do you have like a conditioning period where you are doing drills, or is it really a lot of just playing?
It's really a lot of practice games, just throwing rocks.
That's kind of really the best way to do it. Sometimes towards the beginning of our season, we'll do some drills, whether that's just throwing the stone, practicing weight, but we don't really, there's not really a good drill for sweeping and to get you into curling shape, to get you conditioned. That's just something.
You just have to do it. I mean, I've seen especially a lot during at my club where we'd have league games, and not everyone there you'd say that they're in the best of shape or they're older, so they can't sweep as well, but they still get out there and they do something, and that's just part of the game and it's part of the fun.
Yeah.
And so,
is there anything that you do outside of curling to get ready for curling? Is there anything outside of that you do? Do you do cardio in the off season, or do
I
you
don't
do
know
anything?
about others. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
But
I would be surprised if there was some big off-season training regimen, but you never know.
I'm kind of curious as to what the Olympic curlers, what their kind of off-season training is like. But for me, I just go to the gym, work out with what I want, and just
stay in shape.
Stay in shape.
Yeah.
Obviously, that weightlifting shape is going to be different than curling shape, just how football shape is different than wrestling shape. It's going to be a little bit different, but it'll at least help.
Yeah.
I do know for Olympic curlers, they practice year round.
Okay.
They're especially in Blaine, they have ice year round. Unlike some clubs or most clubs, because it gets really expensive to keep the ice, but they do practice year round.
Okay. And what is your season then look like time wise?
So we start basically right at the beginning of every school year. So like it's like this year we started like the first Tuesday after Labor Day. So it's like first week of September typically. And then usually like we'll go through March because March is when nationals is. My freshman year we went like there weren't any competitions after spring break, I don't think, but we still continued practicing like through mid-April. But then like last year we ended it like after spring break. This year the last Tuesday of March is going to be our last practice because there's not going to be any competitions for us to really go to. But it's basically September to March is our season.
No, it's a little different, at least for me. I thought when I first, I'm like, this is really early, just because it's arena ice. They can do that. They have ice early for hockey. Normally, at least that I've seen in Wisconsin, it usually tends to be like almost, you don't normally get ice until almost mid-November a lot of
Okay.
times. And ice will usually go out closer to April. April tends to be when you have, well, March will be like nationals and leagues will have their playdowns, and you'll get to April, and that's usually when you'll have like nationals and worlds for like U18 or U21.
So talk about the, what is it, nationals that you guys are going to? I think Nancy told us there are 88. How many collegiate clubs are there? I think that's what she said. Is it
88?
I
I
have
feel like
no
I
idea.
feel like that's a really high number.
It does sound really high.
Isn't that what she said?
I don't remember.
I feel like
Where's if only you had a Post-it note, you could have
I
written
could
it
have
down.
wrote it down. Yeah,
I mean,
dang it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just trying to think.
I think, okay, this is what I'm thinking she said. There was 88 collegiate teams or clubs, and 16 of them, the top 16 make it to nationals. Is the top 16
It
part
is
true?
So top 16 is like technically yes, but at the same time no, because of how we determine it. Years past it did used to be the top 16, but there was a lot of controversy with that just because the East, so because we're split into regions, so we have the emerging region, which we're a part of, and then just because we're the schools like that don't really have a lot of people nearby to play with.
Yeah,
and then
coming into the pipeline of curling.
and then there's Midwest, so that'd be like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. And then there's the East Coast, and East Coast has a lot of curling teams. And because of that, like they have so many, they'd also have a whole bunch of players. So to every Bonspiel, which is the technical term for a curling tournament, so to every Bonspiel, they'd be able to like send 2 teams and then get points for them. And so then the top 16 teams would be like almost all East Coast and not give anyone else a chance. And so there was a lot of controversy with that, especially last year. And so this year it changed to where it's the top 9 from the East, the top 5 from the Midwest, and the top 4 from emerging that, or I think that's what it is, that are going to nationals.
Okay. Very cool.
So do you have any rivals? Like, does Iowa have a curling club? Because I hate Iowa. So I just really need to cheer against them. And I don't care what it is.
They do not.
Oh, dang it.
Wisconsin's got one.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
Wisconsin
has
does.
many.
Minnesota.
Wisconsin has several teams.
So any rivals that the Nebraska Curling Club has?
I wouldn't necessarily say rivals per se. There are teams that like we like typically that we see a lot, like Minnesota, but with them it's just kind of a fun competition. So we have this thing called the Go Fusker cardigan. I don't know how long it's been around, but it's really old. But it's just it's a gold and red cardigan with Goldie the Gopher and Herbie Husker on it. And so anytime Minnesota and Nebraska play each other, the team so whoever wins against them gets the Go Fusker. And so whoever won it last, their skip has to wear that during the whole game. And so so you're trying to keep it. If you have it, you're then trying to win it back if you don't have it.
Yeah, like traveling trophy.
So where is it right now?
It is in Minnesota.
Man.
Yeah.
Dang it.
So we'll hopefully we'll get a chance to play them at nationals.
So that's
and
kind of
get
like
it back.
that's kind of like a little rival.
It's
then.
yeah, but it's not like it's not like Nebraska Iowa rivalry. It's not like a hatred one.
Yeah.
It's just a fun.
Oh, we
one.
don't hate Iowa.
Yeah, we do.
Speak for yourself.
So where's the national tournament at?
It's going to be held in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. It's just north of Eau Claire.
Okay.
And it's a small town. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How does that get chosen? Because wouldn't there be, I don't know, because I saw on your Instagram page that you've been there before.
Yeah,
so
we go there every year.
Yeah.
Just for a normal bond spiel. I think they just like different curling clubs just submit to the College Curling Association and say, hey, we want to host nationals, and then they just decide on who's it going to be. Typically it goes like every other year. It's hosted like in the Midwest and then the East Coast. So so we're lucky this year it's not too far of a drive, but like next year we'd probably have to like fly to maybe like New York or Pennsylvania or something like that.
Okay.
Well, that would be fun.
It would be. Yeah.
So what are your guys' chances? What are your odds in the nationals?
I don't really know because
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because like with the East Coast teams, like we don't ever see them, so like we don't really know how they play, what it's gonna be. But then also with the teams that we have played before, like I would expect them to bring their best members. So like if we beat them earlier in the season, that might have been with different players, so it might be completely different this time. So
Harrison has the standings.
Yeah, I'm not
up,
sure
if this is right.
is actually correct. It's got the Northeast, Midwest emerging. I don't know if it lists all the teams is what I'm really trying to figure out.
I'm seeing some Ivy League schools on there.
Yeah.
The East Coast, Harvard,
Yeah,
Yale,
the
Princeton.
Northeast has got a lot. They got Harvard in there, Yale, Princeton, Penn State, MIT, RIT, Syracuse. They got 9 through 12. Emerging, it's got Nebraska, Toledo, Arizona State was a regional championship qualifier, Naval Academy, Bowling Green, Denver, Nebraska Omaha's in there as well, and Creighton.
Yeah, and in Nebraska, we are number 1 in the emerging bracket. It's not bracket
For the points qualifiers.
For the points qualifiers, yeah.
Well, that's good. Right?
Yeah.
But like you
we're
said,
not number 1 at very many things.
Yeah,
But dang
I know.
we are number 1
hey,
in curling.
anytime I can see a 1 next to the word
absolutely.
Nebraska, yes, that's a. We're already doing better than a good amount of
We
our-
do have Magic chime in, and he said, just reading the paper right now, and there's a dedicated curling rink coming to Omaha.
Yes. I think 2026 is when it's slated to start construction.
Oh,
Very
nice.
cool.
Or is
That Nancy said 25.
25?
Yeah, it's one of those two.
I just know that I'll be graduated by the time that it starts, so I won't get to play on it.
You're not staying here?
No.
Going back to Kansas?
No.
Oh, going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
interesting. That's funny. Yeah. So,
When is the national
yeah,
tournament?
when is it? That's what I was trying to think of.
This next weekend.
Yeah. So the 8th through the 10th. So we'll head up there on Thursday.
And is it like streamed? Is there some way we can watch it?
I know one of the sheets is going to be streamed. Other than that, it'd be parents.
Either parents
yeah.
or one of the members setting up their phone on the glass and just like live streaming to like Instagram or
That
Facebook.
has to be really hard to follow.
I mean, this
Yeah.
should be on the Big Ten Network.
I know.
I know
I mean, come on.
I know my dad is going to Facebook Live it.
Yeah.
At least our games.
I know. We'll have to try to see if we can find some way to keep an
updated.
eye. Yeah, keep updated on what's happening. Because that's gonna. And so, how does that work? How does those competitions work? Is it like a bracket? Do you have, or is it just points based?
So for nationals, we're starting out in doing pool play, and then based on how well we do there, then it'll split off into the like winners bracket and the consolation bracket. And so I think I'm trying to remember from 2 years ago, the last time we were at nationals. I think it'll be like the top 2 from each pool, then we'll go on to the winners bracket, and then like which would then be quarterfinals, semis, and then the championship, and then basically the same thing on the consolation side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very
Awesome.
cool. Yep.
All right, we're going to go to break, and we'll be back to finish up with these guys. So stay with us on 93.7 The Ticket, Fitness Fanatics.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council. Reading may be the most valuable skill your child will ever learn. And research proves that when children read outside the classroom, they do much better in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's easy to picture yourself reading with a young child curled up in your lap, but don't forget about your older children. They also need encouragement to read. So set aside some time to read together and help your child achieve and succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we've got a couple quick subjects here to cover in the last few minutes. So just wanted to talk about the funding for the curling club, because it's not, it's kind of separate from like men's and women's basketball, volleyball, football, all
Not the
that,
same.
like
Right.
UNL sports versus the club. So how does that work for you guys, like funding to go to nationals and all that stuff?
So we're a sports club. We're not like one of the NCAA affiliated sports. So like we're basically sponsored with or through Campus Recreation. And so we get some money from them with like we have to do a budget presentation, say, hey, this is how much we've spent, this is what we're spending it on, this is how much we're asking for. And then their council will decide how much we get at the end of every year. So we get money from that. But mostly it just comes from donations, whether that's from people, like when we host a Bonspiel, that's people coming in to watch that. Or sometimes people will just be like, hey, here's a donation, we want to give it to you. Because like a lot of times, like when we host a Bonspiel, the money that we get from the teams will then go to pay for the ice.
Right.
So most of that money we don't end up keeping. So a lot of our income and funding does come just from donations.
How would somebody donate if they were wanting to donate to the future of curling?
Yeah. So every year, it's happened this year already, but like around Valentine's Day, there's something called Glow Big Red, which is just 24 hours of Husker giving. There's a link to a website where like you can put in and donate how much money you want. That's usually a big one. But like I said, that already happened this year. But so most other ways would be like just, I guess, like email us or like DM us on Instagram and be like, hey, we want to donate.
Okay.
How can we do that? And then we'll figure out something.
Yeah. And how do people find you on Instagram?
So our username is unl.curling. And then that's it, right?
I think so.
I should know that. I run the Instagram page, so I should know.
All you have to do is just search for it. Yeah, UNL.curling. That's what it is. I mean, and then it's called UNL Curling Club. So you could also search that on Instagram.
We do have a text from Magic. He was the guy you were chatting with here earlier. He said, thank you, Brett and Charlie, for listening to an old man and trying to explain what curling is about. I'm grateful for your presence in this world. And I know that that Lincoln is going to be a better because of you two. So shout out. Thank you for that text.
We did ask them about, we didn't talk about scoring at all. And we asked them about it. And you guys said it's very complicated. So we're not even going to touch scoring.
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, that's why we didn't really talk about scoring. But Nancy had also told us when we went in last week that there is a curling club in Omaha, and you can go to the website. It's called curlexarban.com is the website. So they do have like learn to curl. You can go in and like on Sundays, there's some like learning to curl
like
sessions, 2-hour sessions. Yep. You can go there. So if anyone's interested and wants to try it, and it also says they host private parties. So that might be a fun, like you could have a big group to come in for a birthday party and learn how to curl. That might be kind of fun.
As long as we keep score, I'd be all in.
No.
I don't just curl for fun. If I'm curling, I want to have a scoreboard and I want to win.
I feel that.
Let's just play for fun. No, there is no fun when it comes to me in any sporting activity.
Well, I mean, I just know when we talk to people about it, people know what curling is. I don't think people knew that curling is something that goes on in Nebraska.
Right? I know. Yes.
And so we definitely don't want to inundate you with people wanting to come in and crash your practice like we did. But
we got in there because we're like reporters.
I know. So but if you go to curlexarban.com and it's up in Exarban Village, I think, right?
Yeah,
it's
at Baxter
Arena. Yep.
Yeah,
so,
that's something we might have to do. I mean, heck, there's no football on for 8 months, so we got to find something to do on Sundays, especially once basketball's over. Then it's just like, we're going to be really bored. So this is something we could just get to all go do, us and the kids.
They have leagues too, so you could do league curling. So it's a whole world out there that we don't know anything about. So that would be definitely something to look into if you're interested in trying curling. It was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of fun. So thank you guys for letting us crash your practice. I don't know if you guys saw us out there, but who had the better form between me and Jeff?
I wasn't paying attention.
Good answer. I know. I would hope you weren't, because you're. We want you guys to be up there at nationals. So
they were hoping that stone didn't shoot over in their lane if we did anything with it.
Yeah. No.
We did have one more text here, just from Notorious BIB. How about a shout out to the Husker baseball team down in Charleston? It's funny we get that text because this morning I just said, "Hey Ben," Ben's our son. "Did you see Nebraska's 7th in the RPI in baseball?" So I saw that. So yes, shout out to them. Couple good wins down there in Charleston. A lot of exciting things going on with Husker athletics. Men's, women's basketball tournament, curling
nationals next
championships,
week.
Big Ten wrestling. I mean, it just never ends.
That's right.
Never ends. You guys have a great week, and we will see you next week on the Fitness Connect.
Thank you. Yep.